Welcome to the Thrive with OMU Podcast, where each week I'll chat with an amazing entrepreneur on their growth journey. They'll be sharing this with us to help and encourage us to take that bold step. Hello. Yeah, we learn every day and you'll soon know why. So today I have my guest with me. Her name is Monique and she's a travelologist. I'm hoping I pronounced it correctly. I'm just as surprised as you guys are. Monique, is so nice to have you here with us today.
Well, so thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Awesome. So usually I would have said, who is Monique? But this time I'm saying, who is Monique and what is or who is a travelologist?
Well, that is actually self-proclaimed title that I have given to myself. Normally you have doctors and they have a certain area that they specialize in. So I specialize in travel. So that is where the travelologist comes into play. As far as all things travel, you come see the travelologist.
I like that you gave yourself the name and you own it.
Yes.
So who is Monique?
Who is Monique? Well, definitely say a multifaceted woman, definitely deeper than travel. I full-time work for Department of Defense for United States, as far as in the missile weapons sector. So yeah, very diverse. Very diverse from travel.
I hope I shouldn't be dodging anything.
No, I'm safe. Yes, not anymore. I hung up my boots a long time ago. I am an Army veteran, so that is how I got into that lane. I was an ammunition specialist. So that's really initially how travel began for me, by joining the military and living overseas. That opened up the world to me, and I have been going through that door ever since. But I think, like many probably of your listeners, during the pandemic, when we have so much time and we were still and in the house, it came to me that I wasn't operating in my passion or using my gifts. And for me, that has been as far as travel. I always planned the trips, went on the trips, and did it for fun, but I never thought of possibly using that as a means of monetary supporting myself and doing it as a business. So it wasn't until 2020 that I decided to make it a business, and I started Soaring Without Limits Enterprises. And basically, Soaring Without Limits Enterprises, I affectionately call it the acronym SWOL because it's easier to pronounce. So SWOL was started in 2020, and basically the objective is to encourage women to let go of their self-imposed limitations, which I know we have many of, as far as taking care of the family, taking care of the kids, taking care of the loved ones, taking care of the job. And oftentimes she places herself last on her priority list. So travel is a means of self-care. It could be used for grief. It could be used for celebration. So my job as the travelologist is to make that pathway for you as smooth and easy as possible. So that's a quick overview snippet. And also, I believe too much is given, much is required. And I've always been one who believed that we are blessed to be a blessing to others. So on top of starting SWOL, I also started Professionista, which is my charity organization where I help women who have been victims of sex trafficking, domestic violence, anything that is a tragic nature, maybe just lost her job or homeless temporarily and needs a little assistance getting back into the job market. So we supply clothing, professional attire, unofficial mentor services. So that's just a quick snippet of who's Monique.
So would you wouldn't call yourself a travel agent?
I don't like that word because I think I do more than just travel. That's why I gave my own title, because really, I believe what sets me apart from your standard quote travel agent, I really sit with each individual that I work with, and I want to know your vision. I want to know you personally, far as what is the means of this trip to you? Is it stress relief? Is it that? So I like to form a personal relationship with you. And even when you're on your trip, I'm still here to help you. I've had like several clients that had stuff go on during their trip, just to alleviate your mind of stressors as far as if something were to outbreak in a country, which we've had, to give them that sense of calmness, give them that sense of peace and assuredness. So for me, I'm like an unofficial travelologist, psychologist, mentally wise, helping you set the tone and the mindset. And some people need a lot of encouragement, empowerment. It depends. So I definitely don't like just saying a travel agent, because I think that would be selling it short as to what I offer.
With you, it's experiential.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, so you did mention your you being a veteran, and that that exposed you to traveling and
Right.
all that. So would you say that, yes, it exposed you to traveling?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you enjoyed traveling to have continued in that field.
Yeah, I think I knew at a young age. Since 10 years old, I knew that I wanted to travel and see the world. So it was, my purpose was revealed to me at a young age. And when I say far as the military, the Army in particular was the gateway, because that was my first time getting on a plane. I joined the military at 18. So within 2 years of me traveling, joining the military, I went and lived in Korea, I lived in Germany, and just being opening and exposed to other cultures like that, I knew that, okay, what I knew at 10, even though I grew up in a smaller town and never been on a plane, I knew that there was more to the world. And being able to experience it via the military, I just knew that that will be a lifelong love that will continue, that love story that I have with travel. And I want to help others start their love story, because there are a lot of people who've never been on a plane, who don't have a passport for whatever reason. And I would love to be that person to hold your hand and to help you get started on your journey.
So would you say that you would want to work with, do you, how does your, how do you, I'm trying to think of how to phrase it. So how does your client come to you, or who is your ideal client? Is it a case of, Monique, I'd like to visit Nigeria? Or is it a case of, I feel really stressed, and then Monique says, I think you need to go on a trip to air your, to have a breather and empty your head, and then what are the things you like to do? Oh, I like African culture. I like this. I like that. And then Nigeria comes up. How does it work?
Okay, the process. So typically, I started, of course, I have a website. So I use that. I use social media to advertise, platforms such as yourself, far as podcasts. I've been on radio shows, wedding expos. I have been putting myself out there in all the services. I also have a book. So I use various methods to get the word out, since it's a fairly new business this year, since of course, due to the pandemic, is really truly the first year of business. And a lot has come because people know me from, that is what I'm known for, that I travel all the time. So a lot comes from word of mouth, as well as referrals. But my ideal client is, I cater more so to the professional woman, 35 and up, as I was stating, the woman who wears the multiple hats. And at this time, I would like her to have a seat and allow me to service her. I also I work with a lot of couples, of course, in that age group. Majority are married. So I also work with couples and offer services for groups as well. I'm in the early stages of planning a retreat for women who suffer from PTSD. We oftentimes hear about the effects of men as a result of their military service. So I, again, in alignment of catering, empowering, and helping women, that is going to be strictly for women, that retreat.
Awesome. So, and this is all outside of the States. It's
Uh,
outside.
I'm pretty much, my niche is international travel. I really don't do domestic too much. We have a big enough market for that. So yes, my niche is international, I would say.
So now back to how you got to this point. Did you
Mhm.
just leave and decide to, this was what you wanted to do, or was there a process?
Well, pretty much after having being in that room for 20 plus hours a day and having so much time to just sit and reflect on where I was in life and was I happy with where I presently was? And that answer was no. I felt like I'm doing this job. I've been working in the defense sector since 1994, so a very long time. And I was like, I know this, but this is not my passion. This is not lighting me up when I get up in the morning. And for me, I was like, this no longer acceptable. So I can change this. So what am I going to do about it? So as I said, pretty much during the pandemic is when I started the early phases of getting started. Who was going to be my target market? How was I going to work this? Coming up with the name of the business, doing all the administrative part as far as getting the LLC and getting recognized as a legitimate business. And then I started coaching as far as getting someone who can help hold my hand through this process because I've never had a business before. So I got a business coach to help me with the structure. And that took place over the next pretty much 18 months, just getting the system in place and creating the vision as to what I was going to offer. And the first offering that I had is a 5-week computer-based course, which you can click and buy, is I Believe I Can Fly. And I'm taking all 25 plus years of my travel experience and setting that into this 5-week course to empower and help another. This one is men, women who want to know the inside tips and tricks as it comes to the travel industry. I'm giving it to you there.
Okay, so now this is who I think Monique is. Monique is that young girl that grew up in a small village, small town, and went into the military at the age of 18, had a fantastic time at the military, retired, sat down, thought about what she wanted to do, and voila, she has this amazing business that is doing so well. So she's had an absolutely amazing life free of any challenges.
Oh, no, never that. Of course not. The military itself is a challenge. Every day, you are going to pretty much raise your hand to defend your country. So, of course, you're being deployed. I've been deployed where you don't get to shower every single day, where you're eating meals out of a piece of plastic. When I was been in Iraq as a contractor, where you're being shot at every single day, and unfortunately seeing people being hit by IUDs. So there is no life that doesn't come with challenges, but being a person, a woman of faith, a believer, I always know that God has and will carry me. But yes, being able to juggle, one, working a full-time job, two, learning the business, and then of course your responsibilities outside of that. It is work. Like working, I have to push every day to work just as hard for myself that I work for my paycheck. And a lot of times you're tired, you want to go, you don't want to relax, you don't want to do it. But I think for me, what motivates me is the end goal, that this is what God put me on this earth to do. And I don't want to leave here saying that I didn't do a job well done. And being able to touch as many people that I can is the thing. So the challenge is, one is everyday stressors. Like, are you going to sell yourself short, or am I going to continue to operate in excellence? So also coming with the challenges, like I said, why the PTSD, being one who suffers from it, from my challenges that I've experienced in the military, the battle of some prize dealing with mild depression. far as learning how to challenge, how to handle that in a positive way, seeking therapy, which was helpful for me to be able to process all of that. So no, of course, now in the end, it seems like, okay, she just did this and it was nothing. But no, I just believe that you take your tragedies and you are able to use them as triumphs and go forth and be able to share that knowledge with another person who may not be able to figure out how to maneuver this life. Just give them some tips as to how I was able to do it, and be able to share that with them is a blessing to be able to do.
Wow. Wow. So at some point you had your regular day full-time job and you were trying to start this business.
Oh, that's still going on. I still work a full-time job and do this business and my charity. So yes, that's what I mean. Time management. I thought
you had stopped the full-time job. Oh no.
Well, we're still building. We're still building. Like I said, the concept came in 2020. We were still locked down, carrying into 2021. So all I can do is continue to build structurally wise, but I wasn't able to take a group on my first trip until
no travel.
Right. So I couldn't make any financial gains from the business. So yes, I'm still working as I continue to build and grow the business. So we're also looking probably within the next 3 years to offer administrative services, because there are a lot of people here in the United States who would like to live in other countries. And many are clueless as to what that ascertains and what the requirements are. So we're also going to start offering those services as well.
Wow. So, we're trying to wrap up. So what are the major challenges you faced? Because I've met quite a number of ladies, and like I always say that, on this journey of meeting different people from different parts of the world, I've come to realize that women the world over face the same challenges, whether you're green, yellow, blue, black, white, whatever it is. Females face practically the same challenges, juggling the home, whichever way you have a home, juggling the home, juggling family, be it your nuclear family or extended family, juggling work, juggling your personal life, juggling the salon, juggling, everything. And I find that, before now, I used to think, there were some things that were peculiar to just us in Nigeria or us Africans. There are, but by and large, women still generally just face the same challenges. We face the same sort of limiting beliefs. We face the same sort of challenges, and we kind of overcome it almost in the same way. And, I just realized that God actually, I've always known he knows what he's doing, but this even just emphasizes the more that we all come from one source, irrespective.
Yes.
So saying that, now there are a lot of women who are at that point where they have day jobs and they know they're not going to be there forever, and they would absolutely love to start something now before they leave their day job, so that they're going into something.
Right.
And I find that a lot of women at that point are usually confused. A lot of times they think they can't cope. A lot of times they think they won't have the time, or, sometimes they feel they're not good enough because they've been doing the same job for so many years and they're stepping outside the box. What sort of advice would you give them to help them, navigate, that path?
Well, that is so funny, because everything you named, it was me. 7 years ago, I recall me and my cousin were speaking, and she was telling me about, I want to do entrepreneurship. And I was like, oh, not me. I want my safe check that I know I'm going to get paid every 2 weeks. To me, that was off limits, stepping into and taking that risk, and of course, into the pandemic. So the same fear was here, like, all right, I'm working a full-time job. I still have my responsibilities at home. How am I going to make this work? It's not easy, ladies. I'm going to tell you, it's a sacrifice. So what I had to do to make that work was getting up every morning at 4:30 in the morning, from 4:30 to 6. That hour and a half was dedicated to the business. 7 o'clock, I start work. 7 to 3:30, 3:30 to 7, family time. Then from 7 to 10, working the business. So it's a commitment to yourself. And I'm not going to say that it is easy, because that one was sacrificing sleep, sacrificing probably other activities that I wanted to do. But I believe that when something is near and dear to your heart, it is worth that sacrifice. So one, I will say, one, get the proper mindset that this is not going to be easy. It is not going to be a walk in the park. And two, I would share as far as how we get mentorship for any other things, and we look and read how to do books and stuff for dummies, you're going to need help. And for me, that is what I feel was an investment, getting a coach who has been where I have been and who is where I want to go. You need to not make those same mistakes and errors by learning and fumbling, trying to do this yourself, and make this pathway clear as possible, getting someone who can guide you to where you want to go. And so you can avoid those pitfalls that they have and glean from their wisdom and your knowledge. And another thing, you need a support system. You need to be surrounded with other women, maybe not necessarily women, but I find it helpful, who are walking the same path as you are, fellow entrepreneurs, one who may be at ground zero where you are, someone who's a little higher, and someone who is where you want to be. I believe your circle should be a mix of where you are, where you're headed, and where you want to be. That's very important as far as who you're surrounding yourself with, and having, I would say, a little mastermind group. I have my business besties who have been instrumental when you're having those hard days, to be able to talk to, and someone understands what it tells to start a business and to be an entrepreneur. That is priceless to have that in your corner. So those will be 3 tips that I would share with a woman who is on this road, who's working a full-time job, growing her empire, as to how to be able to make that manageable for her.
That is powerful.
Yeah.
It's powerful. That is powerful. Thank you so much. I've taken so much away from this, and I'm sure that my listeners will as well. So if we wanted to use the travelologist, how do we?
Yes, the travelologist may be reached at our website. Yes, you can reach me at my website, which is www.soaringwolimits.com. I am on all social media platforms, Instagram as Swole Enterprise, Facebook as Swole Enterprise, LinkedIn, Monique Pearson, and Facebook as Monique Pearson. So any of those platforms, you can definitely reach out and contact me.
Awesome.
And you also, I'm sorry, remiss, also can get my book, Take That Trip Girl, the Ultimate Bucket List Journal. We're on Amazon. So
I'm going to look for it.
Yes, we're on Amazon. So we're also on Amazon and the website. So feel free to check that out as well.
Awesome. I will check it out. Thank you so much, Monique.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure. Happy to share, because I know it always helps to have somebody who's where you are and just be able to share how they're making it work for them, and it may be of use to somebody.
Absolutely. Okay, guys, you've heard from Monique herself, and I'm sure you guys have learned a new word. Go check her out. Take care. I'm out. Thank you for listening to today's episode of Thrive with OMU Podcast. This is your host, Omu Obilo.